Hey, and welcome back to the Optimized E-commerce podcast. I'm Tanner Larson, my business partner, Matthew Stafford. We are the owners of Build, Grow, Scale, the e-com optimization company, as well as your hosts of the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about why a e-commerce store redesign may not be in your best interest, despite the fact that it's one of the most touted things out there in terms of ways to improve your store. And we're also going to kind of go through our process and what we talk about and what we believe as to why that's not such a good thing and what you should do instead. So, Matt, when people come to us to work with us, site design is what they think we do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The very first question I have for them is I ask them if all their data is tagged and they're collecting data correctly, which we've never had anyone that is. And definitely not at the level that we do. And so part of the reason why I ask that is because you spend a lot of time and money to redo everything and take it over to a new site or a new platform, or because a lot of times we have people that want to come from a different platform, come onto Shopify. And I'm like, if you're not looking at your data, how do you know which part to bring over that's working and what part's not working? And they're always like, oh, we don't know. I'm like, so why build a whole bunch of stuff on the new platform that doesn't work if you don't have your data? So typically we say, don't do that site redesign, get all your data collecting correctly, optimize what you have. And then if you're going to do a platform switch, you move over what's working well and then start your split test over there. But 9 times, or actually 10 out of 10 times, they're not collecting the data enough to know what's working, what's not working, what
on
they
every
need to
aspect
migrate.
of the site.
Yeah.
And guys, this is a common thing because what Build, Grow, Scale does through our Amplified Partnership Program is we become the optimization back end of the stores we partner with. So we provide a turnkey plug and play service where our team goes in there, retags and optimizes a store based on data, starts running split tests, and does all of that. Okay, it's an ongoing full-time thing. When people kind of come to us initially, they're in their head, they're thinking that we're going to design them a new site, which sometimes we do, but they usually come to us and say, oh, we've gotten quotes on site redesigns from someone else or other people. What's your quote? And we're like, hang on, why are your business is doing $2 million a month. Your conversion rate's 2%, whatever. Why would you want to have a complete site redesign? Because that's not going to get you to 3% or 4% conversion. More than likely,
sometimes it's
design,
worse.
Yeah,
because all their repeat customers are no longer used to their site, and typically the stores that are doing a decent volume, they have a 30%, 25% return customer rate. So now all of a sudden a third of their business comes to their site, and they're like, oh, this is
the wrong place.
Yeah, they really aren't familiar with it at all, and we've actually seen with the new site redesigns where we'll see that return customer rate drop drastically, and it takes months for it to build back up again. And so we've always gotten much better results by optimizing what they have, getting that dialed in, and then when they transfer platforms, it doesn't look like a totally new site, and there's really no drop off from that point, or if there is, it's very minimal.
And even if Matt just said transfer platforms, so you may think, oh, I'm not transferring, so it doesn't apply to me. Same thing.
Yeah.
If you're on Shopify or you're on WooCommerce or you're on BigCommerce or you're on Magento, the store that you have, now, assuming you're running a business and you've already, established things, it's working, you're selling, you're making sales, you have a conversion rate, you have traffic, all of those things, you're going to be much better served in every single case to do what Matt said, which is optimize what you've got. Okay. And then, only then would you even think about potentially redesigning an element of the site, or maybe we're going to update the framework or something like that, but only after you've looked at the data and you know what you're transitioning. So when Matt's talking about data, I'm going to make him elaborate a little bit on this. Matt, you said making sure everything's tagged and we're reporting the data. What do you mean?
Well, I'm gonna say something else before I forget, and then I'll talk about the data. About 95% of the time, a site redesign, all it's done for is to make the owner feel new and fresh about their site. It doesn't mean it's not working. Typically, their site's working very well. they're making a lot of sales. They're feeling this extra mojo. Now they want to, like, in their head, take it to the next level.
Let's
And
refresh,
they
rebrand.
think that comes with a rebrand or something more professional. The truth of the matter is, it makes the owner feel good. The site owner or the site visitors, 9 times out of 10, they don't know what you were before. They don't know it's any different than what you are now. Like, all they care about is their user experience, and a site brand almost never incorporates elements that will make the journey easier. It's typically how it looks, how it's skinned, all things that really don't have a lot to do with, other than maybe it'll make the site more trustworthy or not trustworthy. But if you're already selling well, then typically that's not the issue with
Yep.
with the theme. So, and then you said talk about data.
Yeah,
So
what do
we
you mean?
use,
Like when we say tagging, there's
yeah.
most people's level of tagging, and then there's our level.
Yeah, so we tag every single thing on the site. So any link that can be clicked, any image, any video, how long it's played, and then what the conversion rate is at every drop-off point. If they click the main navigation, what their conversions are compared to if they click the, and on the mobile menu. So we track mobile and desktop completely different, and we treat them as two different experiences, because people don't shop on their desktop the way they do on their phone.
No, not at
In
all.
fact, we know that typically your your conversion on your desktop is double what it is on your mobile, and then your tablet should be the same as your desktop. Otherwise, something's broken. So we have lots of metrics to know, and people literally just do whatever the default in Google Analytics is, and they think that's tagging their site. We actually use
Turning
Tag
on
Manager.
e-commerce.
Yeah, and it's better than nothing for sure. It
Yeah.
works. That we started that way years and years ago, but now if you think about it, Google Analytics is just a hub for your data. So if you don't have it set up to collect the data properly, garbage in, garbage out, it's going to give you. You're going to think that you have good data, and you're going to be making decisions off of bad information, and that's typically not going to work well. So what we do, we encourage people to learn how to use the Tag Manager, get all the scripts and everything else off your theme so that it runs fast, and it's only fired when it's necessary. And then all that data then gets imported into Google Analytics properly.
And that allows you to make the right decisions for a site redesign if you so choose to go that route. Because that way you're able to look at all the data, look at how every single aspect of your site, from images to colors to buttons to links to everything, navigation menus, drop downs, everything, and see how all of it's performing, and only migrate what is working into that new theme, new design. And if they have an element that they want to add, you can compare it to what you're currently getting. And if you don't have that element, you can at least have a baseline of this has to perform better than this to be worth having. Now, the problem is most of these, actually, I would say if we go with the 80-20 rule of life, right? 80% of these site design services out there that are going to go in and rebrand and optimize this new theme or new store they're going to design for you, they don't even log into your Google Analytics. They don't even ask for your Google Analytics. So how could they actually produce something that's going to convert better than what you have without looking at your data?
Yeah, they believe in form over function, and we struggle with it too. We want stuff to look nice and feel good and do all those things, but the form should never take the place of function, because people would rather use a site that works very well than has so much stuff on it that makes it all cutesy that it's confusing on what to click and where to click and what a certain button means. We always work very strongly with things that are prototypical and split test. And then when we do split test, we'll usually do bigger changes at one element at a time. Because if you change 3 or 4 things and your conversion rate drops, how do you know what did it? Or if your conversion rate goes up, how do you know what to do more of and not to do any of the others? So you really have to do things per page, one at a time. Otherwise, like you literally have no idea what worked and what didn't work it reminds me of the old advertising where they go, yeah, 50% of our advertising works. We just don't know which 50%.
Yep.
So they can't cut it out.
Don't know how to eliminate the waste. And like what Matt was talking about, think about this. He's talking about how you make wins and you figure out what to do more of and less of based on doing a test at a time, one change at a time. Okay. What's a site design? It's everything at once. Now you may have some common elements, but let's say if they're going to do a complete redesign, you're looking at 80 to 90% new stuff. Okay. All at once. You go live and then you wonder what's working, what's not working. Why did my conversion rate go down when my add to cart went up? You have no way of mining this out and figuring this out. You can't use your Google Analytics data because Google Analytics is only forward processing and forward thinking. It collects data from the day it's installed. So you're starting over at square one. We much prefer and much more highly recommend that you go with a consistent optimization strategy of making sure first and foremost, your data is set up correctly, which like Matt said, in any time we've ever gotten into someone's Google Analytics, it's never once, even when they tell us, oh, we got our data perfect, it's never once been actually set up the way it needs to be. We've always had to fix stuff. Now, some of them better than others, but it's still not enough.
Yeah, and we, to do the size stores that we do it at a level that requires,
massive
probably not every single store needs to do it the way we do. I do believe that if they did, they would win much quicker and over time. Yeah. But like, this isn't to say like every single person needs to know all of that before they can be effective. But like, for one, they should be following someone that is collecting data like that. So that when they test stuff, it's based off of like something that's similar. Otherwise, it's just a shot in the dark.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about a site redesign or your conversions are stagnant and you've been like, man, maybe we should redesign our site. Maybe we should start over. Maybe we should do whatever. Think twice, please. But if you're really committed to a site redesign or a store redesign, at the very least, vet your designer or the company that's going to do this and see what they're using that's actually coming from your existing data. Because no matter what that company tells you, they don't know your customer or what's going on your site better than the data that you're already collecting. And if they're not digging into that and they're not coming back to you and saying, we're going to make this change on your store or make this new element based on this data, then they're just designing to be pretty. They're not actually doing anything based on conversion data.
Yeah, and like I said, 95% of the time, an entire site overhaul is because the owner's tired of the way the site looks and they want it to be fresh and all these other things. When the site visitor, they don't know you from Adam. So if they've seen your site a few times, it's actually better if it still looks the same, not changes 100% different.
And again, from the BGS methodology, yes, we have redesigned sites that when we took them over, they were that broken or that bad, but we still don't do it without first leveraging the data and collecting the data and making sure we know that what we're changing is for the best based on what we're collecting, okay? But in most cases, you don't, like Matt said, it's usually for the owner's whim, but you don't need a site redesign. All you need to do is continue to optimize the site you're on, keep improving that buyer's journey. From the time they land on that site, whatever page it is, just keep optimizing that process. And the thing that Matt talks about is, well, that basically the more things you can cut away and get rid of, the better it is, right?
Yeah, we always, in the beginning, all of our major wins are actually removing things, not adding new elements. It's making the site very simple and very easy to do whatever they want to do.
Store owners, entrepreneurs, marketers have a tendency to want to add everything in the kitchen sink. Oh, well, more persuasion, more copy, more imagery. Oh, this GIF is cool. And oh, I need this wiggly button and all this stuff. And we start piling on all this until we wind up wondering why it's no longer working. And Matt and I can attest to doing that ourselves on more than one occasion.
Back in the years when we got started, we literally did. We had a site that before we realized all this stuff, this 3.5 years ago, our site was 13 seconds to load. That wasn't above the fold, but still, I mean, to look back and see what we were doing, every time we thought, oh, well, this is working really good, let me add this, and oh, let me add this. And we never split tested it against other things.
And then when we did, that's when it actually started working way, way, way better. I mean, not to say that it didn't work before, but it's really hard to scale a brand that has a 13.5-second page load time when you're really trying to put a lot of visitors on it. So anyway, guys, in summary, think twice about a site redesign or a store redesign. You more than likely don't need it. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Like Matt said, don't be the owner who just wants a fresh look to make it pretty. If it's making money, just let it keep making money. That makes you happier than a site that's pretty that doesn't make money. And make sure your data is collecting correctly if you do decide to do a site redesign, and use the data to influence what actually gets changed.
Yeah.
So with that, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Please click below to subscribe to the podcast. We also do this over on YouTube. If you need the direct links, it is at buildgrowscale.com/podcast. And subscribe. And if you liked this episode, if you like listening to Matt and I ramble, then leave a comment below or a review and let us know what you think. And if you have ideas for future episodes, we're always looking for more stuff, and we're happy to, act on the comment or the feedback that you give us. So with that, guys, we'll see you later on the next episode. See ya. Yeah.